Hey, everybody. That is Gary Smith.
Hello there.
That is Kaz Kenny.
Kapow!
And I am Eddie Bramble, and this is episode 50 of the Blackwater's Edge podcast. Episode 50 already, guys.
50 podcasts old today. How about that?
How about it?
50 never looked so good on me, did it?
That's older than you, isn't it?
By 4 years.
We got a ways to go to catch up with me.
Yeah, Gary's holding tight at 81.
You don't look a day over 80, Gary.
So I don't feel day over 80 either.
I know one thing. I've missed doing this for 2 weeks. I'm glad
Yeah,
we're
man.
back here doing this.
Well, it's your fault. So.
Well, partly my fault.
Sicko, man.
All right, guys, start us off with this week's
All right,
fishing
so
report.
fishing report. Here we go. So down here at Blackwaters, it's snakeheads here and there, on live bait. That's pretty much what everybody's catching them on. It's a few catfish here. A couple channels were caught over the weekend. I know Leroy Heisen got out there and he caught some catfish. I know Bob Wilkerson got out there. He caught one lone white perch and some catfish over 335. It sounds to me like the bulk of action is taking place in deeper water, not too much in the way of shallow stuff. It's been very cold, folks. We've had ice on the water and things like that, skim ice, so we know it's been very cold and the fish have been very sluggish.
Ice in my pond this morning on the edges.
Was it?
Yeah.
Have you seen anything rolling underneath the
Oh,
ice?
yeah, buddy.
You know what? Just to break away from it, you know what I'd really like to do there, Gary, honestly? I'd like to get down there with some skim ice and try some top water on the ice and see if we can get somebody to bust through the ice trying to get that.
We'll do that
that'd be pretty
next
cool,
year.
wouldn't
It's not going to freeze anymore this year.
Yeah. Hopefully not.
Hopefully
Crap
not.
is over with. I'll tell you what is cool, though. I've got a culvert in my driveway, and I've got a couple bullfrogs that stay to
you're
spend the whole
telling
winter in there. And these days when the sun's shining, I guess it heats that water up around that culvert, and they come out and just sit there. Looking up like that.
Did you hear the few lone peepers last week when we had that little bit of a warm up?
Oh, yeah.
That was pretty interesting to hear. I love when I hear them peepers coming because I know that means fishing isn't far away and it's going to get real
Yeah.
good.
And the birds are tripping,
And
too.
the bird are
That's
chirping. You know what else I saw was a lot of robins down Button's
Yep.
Neck. I mean, everywhere. Robins in the field. So that's a good sign, too. We see all them robins. That means there's good worms in the dirt, too. So that means when it rains, that any place that you see water coming in a spot, you might want to try to fish that spot in case there's a worm or two washing in.
Can you tell me what a bad worm is?
No, we can't talk
Okay,
about
so before,
we can't talk about it on this show.
hold on, no. So let me
Get ready to
just,
beep him.
I don't know why I just thought about this. You said a bad worm. So I just had a thought. So I used to work for a man back in Hartford County. His name was Marvin Comer, J.M. Comer Construction. And when I first started working with this guy,
How do you always have a story for everything?
because you made me think about it, you know what I
Bad
mean?
worm Inc.
But so we did screen topsoil and stuff like that, So there were lots of worms in the dirt. I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but anyway, so I started work for this guy, and it was St. Patrick's Day. It was like my 4th day on the job or something like that. I was the only guy that showed up for work, and I don't know what to do. There's no operators, nobody here to run machines or anything like that. So I'm just kind of sitting around my office, and I see Mr. Comer pulling the drive, and I run out to him like I did every time. Mr. Comer, where's everybody at? Well, Dave Bull, he ate a bad hot dog. I said, oh, really? Yep. And Farmer, Donnie, he ate a bad hot dog. I said, oh. And Jimmy, Workman, he ate a bad hot dog too. So you're on your own today. I said, Mr. Comer, did they all go out to eat somewhere for like St. Patrick's Day to celebrate and got bad food or something? What do you mean they got a bad hot dog? Boy, that means they're drunk, they're hungover, and ain't coming to work today. They ate a bad hot dog. Get back in there and make some phone calls. So anyway, I don't know why I thought about that. Marshy Hope, it's blue cats. Look, if you haven't seen what Cornflower's doing over there, he is literally sacking the blue cats like nobody's business. So Cornflower, we appreciate you taking all them invasive feces out of there.
I appreciate the football reference, even though you don't watch football.
I don't watch football or baseball, but I have a million baseball cards. Yellow perch over in Marshy Hope. I do know somebody who sacked on some yellow perch over there over the weekend. Pickerel over there in Marshy Hope. A few white perch are starting to show up. Crappie all over the marinas on the docks and things like that. So get over there and do some fishing. The Chester River. Yellow perch, I think, are about done running up through there. You're going to start to see the whites coming in. Greensboro. So there's a few white perch downriver from Greensboro. I haven't seen anything really big yet, and I haven't talked to anybody that's seen anything really big yet. A few yellow perch, like I said, are still there at Greensboro, but they're about done there too. A few whites down below. There's been a few pickerel around, a few bass. Lots of crappie on the laydowns below Greensboro and above Greensboro ramp right now. So if you got some little crappie jigs or something like that and you want to throw them under a bob or a float around some brush piles, that'll probably pass some time in this, when you got low tide or in between tides and things slow up, you can always go do that, chase some crappie. That's something I've always done in between tides. Up in the Severn, yellow perch, white perch, a few pickerel, a few rock. What else we got? Susquehanna. So I talked to some boys up there. You know, they're still catching some big walleye. A lot of the walleye are, you know, rode up, getting finished spawn or spawning. So, you know, if you got big fish and you don't need to keep them, let them big females go. So we have a good class of walleye to continue to go around. Smallmouth, few smallmouth bass. They're talking about down below the river, below Lapidum, and around the bridges in Haverty Grace. A few stripers. Flatheads seem to be here and there, but when you seem to find them, there seems to be more than one in the area. Let's see, up in Easton on the bypass. So guys have been yellow perch fishing there on the bypass. They're about done with that. There are a few white perch showing up there, and we have heard of a few snakeheads being caught under a float on a minnow. Up in the Patapsco, it's catfish, rockfish, and white perch. Down the Potomac, it's blue cat, stripers, largemouth bass. And if you're in the Potomac, I'll tell you a real hot lure down there. It's called a silver buddy. It's a blade bait about this big. You can get them in different sizes. I like the half-ounce size myself and 1 ounce, but it's just a shiny little like fish-shaped lure with a little weight on the front of it. You drop it down to the bottom when you see the shad, and you just kind of just lift it real slow and just kind of let it fall, and you'll feel that little tink. When you feel that, man, just set the hook and you're in business. So that's about where we are on the fishing report. I can't think of too much else to talk about as far as that goes. If anybody out there has any information on any fishing in your area and you want to share it with us, feel free to drop a line in the comments and let us know what you're doing. Let me think. I know today we're going to talk about tournaments. We're going to talk about the club. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff today.
All kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We got a great guest today.
Great guest.
One of my favorites.
Been on here before.
Yep, one of my favorites.
Mr. Rob Freyer. How you doing, Rob?
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having me back.
Hey,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Appreciate you coming
Good
back
to
on.
hear.
Absolutely. Always a great time.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Rob.
Everybody knows.
Same as last time, right?
That's right.
Just give us a little rundown. Introduce yourself. Tell the public about you.
Rob Freyer, live in Maryland, Westminster. Got a beautiful wife, cool son. Brandon, my wife Holly, is fantastic. She just gave me a great birthday. So that was great. Went out and celebrated with the family.
How old are you, Rob?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't really like to discuss that.
Okay, you don't have to. they like to throw my age around like nothing. So.
No, I think I'm 46. I try to hide that, you know.
You're supposed to say I think I'm 40.
Yeah.
I act 4, so you know it kind of makes up for it. You gotta keep.
We all
keep,
do.
Keep young somehow.
4 and 6 is 10, you know.
That works for me. And if you ask my wife, she will definitely tell you I act 10 most of the time.
Yeah. My wife says the same thing. It's
I'm
crazy.
the same way.
And it's great though, right? I mean, it keeps you young.
Yeah.
You feel good. You laugh, and I mean that's what life's all about: just having fun and laughing and enjoying yourself, and you know whatever. I don't really particularly like to act my age.
The only thing I don't like is when people tell me I'm acting immature.
Well, that's that's one of the fun things too.
That's right.
Acting immature, but yeah, I mean, I'm just living life, man. Things have been really, really crazy the past couple of weeks. You know, I do work with the Sportsman's Channel. I'm also you know, land advisor with the Land Group, and it's just been so busy lately. With the changing times of the market, the interest rates are down. The hunting seasons are over. People are out looking, doing their thing. And land sales have just been incredible. Just nonstop people buying, wanting land. There's more buyers in inventory, and people are just running you around and trying to find things. And it's just been great. I can't thank the Land Group enough for the opportunity. It's a great group of people I work with, and it's, I don't know, it just keeps blowing up. And I'm happy to help people. I have a great time. I was, you know, with some people the other day, and they're like, you know, do you actually go out and walk the land? I'm like, yeah, like that's the fun part of it. I like
That's the
going
best part
out
of the job.
and walking the land, and you know, we go out and we walk, and we're in the marsh, and we're like trudging through the mud and the muck and all that, and I'm busting through the cattails, and I'm, you know, people are following me. I don't want them to have to like break through all that, and like I'm in the middle of it, like I'm filming the mud and the videos and walking through the sloppy crap, so I can send videos to my wife because she like wants to throw up when she sees that stuff. So it's fun sending her those videos. And you know, we get back to the truck, and you know, the people are like shocked. They're like, "Wow, like we didn't really expect you to take us all through the property." I'm like, "What do you mean? That's the job. You know, I want to show you what it is that you're thinking about buying. You know, we want to look at the sign and see entrance, exit, and all the different points and different things." So it's a lot of fun. You know, it's a passion of mine. I love to hunt. I love to fish. I love being outdoors. So, you know, bringing that realm of my life into the actual business side of it and combining the both, I mean, it's just helping me be that much more successful. Because I think people know when I'm out there looking at property with them, they know, like, I'm in the real. Like, this guy's for real. He knows the land. He's out there. He knows what he's talking about. And that's what I want to convey. I want people to know what I'm talking about, because I do. I live and breathe this stuff, and it's what I love. And, you know, it makes me really happy when people get something, you know, they see a piece of land, they fall in love with it, and then they can, you know, fulfill a dream of theirs. Because we all have dreams, you know, and getting a piece of land that you can call yours to go hunt and fish and do whatever, like, they love it. And then, you know, I get feedback from people. I put a buddy in a piece of property the other month, and he called me today, and he's like, dude, guess what the appraisal came in at? I'm like, and I wasn't sure. Like, his voice was kind of just real mellowed out. And he told me, and it was almost double what he paid. And he was, like, blown away, man. And he's like, I said, dude, like, must have had, like, the best land advisor ever to put you on that piece of property. So it was just cool, man. You know, just to get good feedback like that from people just makes it, you know, that much more fun and rewarding, man. I really want to see people be happy with what I show them. And if they decide to get it, you know, I just want to see people happy and enjoy what they love.
You know, I mean, the biggest thing is, you know, when somebody's buying something for retirement, they're buying something for pleasure. That's a big decision somebody's making in their life.
It's huge.
And I have to say this, like, I pay attention. You know, one of the best things I was told in life is to pay attention the best you can. So I try to watch everything that's going on around me. And this is what I will say about you. You know, I have noticed, and other people that I've talked to that you've shown property to told me, you know, how outgoing you were. How you were willing to do anything that you had to do to get them there to make the sale. One of the biggest things that I think deters a buyer, a land buyer especially, is when you call a realtor and they say, yeah, just ride on out and take a look at it and tell me what you think. Now, the difference between you and that guy is that when they call you, you know, that you're going to meet them at the property 9 times out of 10. You're going to put them on the four-wheeler. You're going to take them for a little ride. I like the fact that you even go as far to set cameras up on these properties that you're selling so that you can show the people. And you just said the real, you know, so I'm trying to let people know why it's real, you know, because
100%.
You're not just throwing a picture in there of some deer saying, oh, this is on this property. I mean, I have seen firsthand you go around. I've seen the pictures of the rubs you take, you know, so I know that you're putting the time in. And I think the reason that you're being as successful as you're being compared to a lot of the other people that I see, attention. You know, your attention, I think, that you give to people is far beyond what I see from other realtors, especially here. You know what I mean? And I think you take time to listen. You know, like I've heard you on the phone. You know, I don't hear you talking over them. I hear you letting them say what they got to say, and then you're coming back with an honest answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This thing's getting really big, I think, for you and for everybody. The whole Corona thing, I'm sure, but everybody's saying that land values up. You know, the buyer's market right now is really, really strong. So that's why I thought it was important to get you in here right now. While you did say the interest rates are down, this is the time to buy. You know, if you've got equity in something, I mean, you can put that equity over here in a property, and, you know, I'm sure you can help with that. So I don't know. I just see what you're doing a little different than what most people are doing, and I think that's what sets you apart from the rest. You know what I mean? And I think you do a great job, and everybody that I've talked to that's dealt with you has had nothing but phenomenal things to do.
I'm sure you have a to-bring list. Boots, hip boots.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mosquito spray.
It depends. You know, boots, hip boots, waders, bug spray.
But
whatever.
I mean, you know that, and you can tell them before they get there with tennis shoes on.
Yeah.
And can't even look at the property.
Now, Rob, you sell property not just here on the Eastern Shore. You sell all over, right?
I cover pretty much the whole state of Maryland.
Right.
You know, I help out in Pennsylvania. We help out in Virginia, Delaware. But I mean, my forte is basically Maryland. I hunt myself personally on the Eastern Shore. I own land in Dorchester. I hunt, you know, Anne Arundel County, Southern Maryland, Baltimore County. So, I mean, I'm pretty well versed in most of the counties and most of the hunting areas. I've sold land in Charles County, a couple tracts. I sell land in Frederick County. We do stuff in Carroll County. Do a lot, you know, in this area. Somerset, Dorchester, Wacomico have a lot of properties. And that's kind of the little territory that I run and, you know, that I can really focus on and know the properties.
What are most folks interested in right now? I mean, what do you see most people looking for? Is it just land? Are they looking for fishing, hunting? I mean,
mostly, I mean, there's a lot of people looking for a lot of different things. Most people know me for hunting. So you know, a lot of my buyers are hunting. You know, I have sold big farmlands, you know, for development. But a lot of it's hunting. I mean, big right now, honestly, and you guys know it, man. Everybody wants a Sitka property.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's no Sitka properties out there.
Right.
The ones that are out there are, if they're still out there, they're way overpriced. That's why they're still out there. Anything that's reasonably priced sells in 30 days or less. I've had properties selling as little as a day before. 2 days for, almost $1 million properties. I mean, things are just really hot right now. Waterfowlers are looking for properties. They're pretty hot right now. And it's just a good time. I mean, it's a great market for buyers because the interest rates are so low. It's a great market for sellers because there's just so many buyers, and things are just good for everybody. And we definitely do things a little different at the land group. I mean, we really analyze the land values and kind of really look in detail with all that stuff so we know what we're talking about. I mean, when you're buying a property, we're not going to tell you like, okay, the property is worth $4,000 an acre. We're going to tell you the timber's worth this much an acre, the agriculture part is worth this much an acre, the marsh is worth this much an acre, and then we can actually get to a true actual value of the property. And that's how we price things up, and that's why I think we sell so much more than most. If I'm incorrect, I apologize, but I believe we were the largest land sale market, in Maryland last year. We sold over 9,000 acres. I don't think anybody did better than that. So, we're constantly out there looking for good dirt to sell. And, I would just encourage anyone that has any interest in buying a property, please reach out. Love to talk to you and help you fulfill a dream. I mean, I see how happy it makes people, and I'm about spreading the goodwill, helping out.
Now, I do know that you do have some properties, some nice Sitka properties for sale right now.
Maybe. Yeah, there's a couple around.
So is there any property that stands out that you might want to tell anybody about that out there right now you think's really hot, something they might want to look at?
I mean, honestly, as far as really hot, most of the really hot ones have moved. The one big one we had is under contract. I looked at a property down in Quantico today in Wacomico County. It's like 32 acres, got a house, really nice piece of woods in the back. There's, I can't remember exactly, about 10 acres in the front of it that's a field that you could maybe convert to be tillable. I did put a camera, and some corn out today so I could try and get some pictures of animals on it.
Should be some nice Sitka down there, I would think.
Yeah, I've heard there's nice Sitka. I found some tracks. They look like Sitka tracks to me. There's a little bit of difference in the tracks you can tell, and I felt like they were Sitka tracks, but the camera will tell. And down off of Elliott Island Road down in Vienna, I looked at a couple pieces today. Really, really superb, beautiful woods, good mix of timber, hardwoods, pines, some open areas, some flooded timber in the back, ton of sign, big rubs. There was some leftover scrapes. I mean, trails all over. Really, really beautiful piece of woods. And, we've got a big waterfowl property down there we're looking at as well. So, I mean, there's a lot going on. I mean, if you're looking in the right spots, you find the good stuff. And I'll
tell you what, I mean, there's some really, really good snakehead fishing down that neck of the woods, too, now. And, you're talking about down Quantico. Here's the thing that I've talked to folks about, and this is something that anybody listening might want to know. A lot of those deer down there, they're not frag deer, so they're eating crops. They're eating... Yeah. The deer down there are a little bit different class than what we got here between me and you. And a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but them deer down there, they get big because they're grain fed. They're over 100 pounds. I mean, they're not, they're not pocket Sitka. That's why.
I can tell you, for instance, I've sold some properties to people down there in that Wacomico area, Quantico down there, Tyaskin. And I've seen some trail camera pictures, and there are Sitka stags down there. I mean, standing right next to whitetails. I mean, there's Sitka stags down there as big as 2-year-old whitetails. I know.
If I remember right, the state records from Wacomico County.
Wacomico,
yeah. I mean, the density. So you got to know the difference between Dorchester and Wacomico.
Right.
Dorchester's loaded with deer. I mean, there's Sitka everywhere. Wacomico, not as much. There's not as many deer, but there's
the class.
There's trophy animals down there. I mean, the stags, the whitetails. I mean, I think the first 170-some-inch whitetail was shot in Wacomico this year. So, I mean, there's trophy class animals in that county, and
it's not just pine trees there.
Over here it's
pretty much just pine trees. I've always said the North Dorchester area
is very good.
It's up around Vienna.
Yeah, it's very good.
And it's Vienna, Ellis Island Road, and that whole area, Henry's Crossroad, all down there. There's a lot of big deer. I mean, some of the biggest deer that have ever been shot in Dorchester County came right from Rosedale.
Yeah,
for the same exact reason.
It's just you got all this pin oaks up there, and you got more fresh water.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it's just and there's fields everywhere too, so there's plenty to eat.
Yep.
You know what I've noticed, like you just said, Gary, it seems like when you jump on that other side of 50 here, you know, and you start getting up to Secretary, you start getting up to Hurlock and places like that.
Well, just look in
That-
Dorchester
that- them
County, all the
sick of deer-
elevation.
right.
And Dorchester County's on the left of Route 50.
Right. I mean, them deer literally, like I've
A
seen the
little bit
ones
we've
that
got.
we've killed over our farms, and just
The
just-
soil's
you could
sandy.
just see it in their muscular mass. I don't know how to explain it, but like the deer
Well,
that I
even
see
their
over
color's
there,
different.
yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. But the deer over there, it's just
Well, it's ideal.
like they're
They've got swamps. They don't have marshes.
Yeah, they're
That's the
a different
difference.
animal.
And it's fresh
They're like-
water and it's
yeah.
flooded timber, and then it's fields. You know, because a lot of it's branches. So on both sides of fields, they come out either side.
Yeah, you're looking at swamp donkeys versus corn-fed beef.
Right.
Right.
That's
You know,
exactly right.
You get a sick deer up in a better habitat, it's going to be a better animal.
And I also got to tell you,
and
I
they
think
really
I
are.
think there's a little bit difference in the taste myself, but my buddy told me I'm crazy.
Well, I mean, you're not crazy for that. I mean, if they're eating different, they're going to taste
Well,
different.
and
for
that's
sure.
what I tried to say to him. He's like, "Man, you're crazy, man. Deer taste like deer. I don't care what."
I can tell you, I, myself,
I said, "Okay."
I don't notice the difference in the taste, but when you cook them, you notice the difference in the smell.
Yeah.
Because I mean, our cicadeer deer smell like the marsh when you
They
cook
do.
them.
Yep.
It's
They
like
do.
cooking muskrat. You got
do.
that smell.
I'm not
But
as
they
good a
taste
hunter
great.
as you guys. I don't
Yeah,
really, I don't,
you're badass,
I
dude.
don't have all those deer experiences to try all the different deer and cook them all different ways, you know. I just shoot little swamp donkeys every now and then.
Gary just made me think of something. Again, another story.
Oh boy.
Do you remember Jaybirds? He used to be up in
Yep.
town. Okay, so I gotta tell this story. You're talking about things that smell like the marsh when you cook them, right?
That's not good when you're talking about a restaurant.
Well, that's
guys.
what. Let me just finish
Poor
here. okay?
Jaybird's dead. Leave him alone.
So now I'm going back to the days of my real craziness down on Buttons Neck Road, and we had all been partying for a day or two or three or four. It might have been 7. I don't know. But I remember that Webby got up and we were like, "Hey, let's all go up Jaybirds and get breakfast." That sounded like a wonderful idea to me because I was starving. So we get up to Jaybirds and we walk in, man, and I'm smelling the air. And I looked at my Uncle Wayne and I says, "Do you smell mud?" He goes, "What do you mean?" I said, "I smell like methane, dude, like from the marsh." He's like, "You lost your mind." So we go sit down, I order my breakfast, and I got whatever it was, and the potatoes came out. And I know this is all in my head, so I look at the potatoes, and I'm like, damn, they look awfully gray, man, like dried out marsh mud. Right? So now I smell them, I'm like, they do kind of smell like the marsh, man. What's up here? So I went ahead and ate my potatoes, and I ain't kidding you, man. I'm like, sitting there, I'm like, man, this does not taste right. And I can still smell that methane like coming out of my breath or something, man. So out of nowhere, I looked at all these guys like, I'm going to be sick. Out the door I went, dude. I sat on Jayboard's porch and threw up for 30 minutes before I went back inside. Everybody's in the restaurant looking out on the porch, and I'm just
Jesus.
sitting there like this, throwing up, right? I walked back in, and I said, don't eat the potatoes. You had to be there to see it, dude. It was hilarious as hell. I don't know why I thought of that, but
Oh,
yes,
my goodness.
you're 100% right. When you went like not so much fish, but like catfish. Like I've noticed sometimes the catfish
Oh,
had
yeah,
that
bullheads,
meth, you know,
definitely.
the bullheads. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
The bullheads are eating the mud.
Well, I
That's
mean,
right.
the bullheads are eating the mud, the
Don't
snakeheads
call
are
them
eating the
bottom feeders
bullheads.
for nothing.
Right. Right. Anyway, I didn't mean to get off course there, but back to the whole Sika thing. So what people need to know about these properties that you're selling away from Blackwater itself are the Sika deer that are on the other side of 50, and even down Athol Road, like that direction
Yeah,
down there.
that's good.
You know, that Mardello down that way, I remember Wayne and Ricky and all them, they joined this club down there, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago. And Ricky killed the first Sika deer on the property. They didn't even know that they had Sika there. You
Yeah,
know
a
what I
lot of
mean?
People don't. I got friends
Right.
in Princess Anne to tell me that.
Right. He said he was just sitting in the stand, looked up and thought, holy shit, look at this. And it was a nice stag. I mean, had a nice
Yeah.
rack on it. So he let it rip. He got that deer. When he brought it back, I looked at it and says, man, now I'm not as seasoned as a lot of you guys are with hunting, so I don't know. But when he brought it back and I was looking, I said, good God, Rick, that thing's huge, man. He said, yeah, well, you got to understand, you know, they're not eating the same stuff down there. They got acorns, they got this, they got a lot of different diet down there. So, you know, for those people that are looking to get a property where you could maybe manage it and do something even better than what you're seeing is really a possibility for folks.
Oh, it's 100%. And I tell people, you know, when I talk to land buyers, you know, looking for Sika property, I mean, we have the options. We got options in Dorchester. We got options in Wacomico. And I kind of have that conversation with them. You know, what do you really want? You just want to shoot a bunch of deer, or do you want to like shoot trophy stags
Right.
and manage for really big deer? And then we'll present them the options. You know, I mean, it's the more information I know about a buyer, the better I can direct them into like a property that will better fit their needs
Right.
or what they want. You know, I don't want to stick someone somewhere that, you know, that's not going to suit them,
Right.
I mean,
If they're looking to kill their limit every year, and they're looking at a property where there's not a lot of deer, but you got big trophies, that's not right for them.
no,
So,
I'll stick them down in black, stick them somewhere down by Blackwater where they're going to see a whole bunch of hinds and sick of deer, and they might see 15, 20 deer on a feeder versus going to Wacomico, and they might see 5, but it's going to be a giant stag.
Yep.
Right?
It just all depends what you want. I mean,
Because a lot of people are horn oriented. I'm
Right.
not particularly, I don't turn them down. Actually, I got lucky and got 2 6-point stags this year, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm just looking to fill the freezer. I like to eat them. That's pretty much. I don't buy any red meat.
It's funny because we tell people all the time with snakeheads the same thing. What do you want to catch? Do you want that dragon, or do you want to go out and catch 30 or 40 or 50? Because there's different spots for each one, and we can tell you where to go.
And
So.
different lures too.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same exact thing.
I'll tell you what. I mean, I have a feeling that this year snakehead fishing is going to get a little crazier than it has been. I don't know. I feel it coming. I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, a lot of the properties that you're selling, Rob, I mean, that's something else that you might want to start looking into. Check these ponds out down there. You'd be surprised where these fish are. I mean, I'm finding fish in a lot of places that people haven't even looked yet. And I can tell you right now, I mean, you guys up there in the Chester River. So I was talking with Cornflower the other day. We had a friend up there who pulled his fikes, and he had over 100 snakeheads in one fike. So that tells me that the Chester's getting numbers. And I think you're going to see some big stuff there too. I think what you're going to see is you're going to see a big spread this year of where these fish are.
Mm-hmm.
Your bigger fish are going to be found in condensed areas. You're going to find those areas where nobody's been to, nobody's hit. But I got to tell you, man, I mean, I have been out here for the last couple weeks just driving around looking at new places and dropping traps and looking at stuff. And let me tell you what, I mean, there's snakeheads in a lot of places that nobody's even fished yet.
You looked in my pond, 15 times? You fished my pond for them. Haven't caught one yet.
There's none there, Gary. There's none there.
That's what I keep telling you, Kev. But you keep
I know
back.
what he does. He goes out and feeds them all before I come, dude. He's got this. I now know what that little ring is down there that says snakehead ring on it. So, Rob, let's talk a little bit about what Rob likes. Let's talk about this year, your hunting, what you did. You killed some deer this year from what I saw, and your wife, too. Your wife got lucky a couple times.
She did. People that know me know, I like to kill shit. That's just what I do. And I sell land.
That's just what I do. That's just what I do. I love it.
No, I mean, realistically, I'm in the management association for deer, and I manage 6 different properties. And I do shoot a lot of deer. I think I ended up with 28 this year.
Wow.
All does. I shot two bucks. Shot them early, and then I just have fun whacking donkeys the rest of the year. I mean, that just keeps it fun for me. But, it sounds like a lot of deer, but when you look at, 6 properties divided by 26, I mean, what is that, 4.5 deer per property?
Yep.
So it's not actually that many deer. I mean, the season's over. I had a landowner send me a picture of 8 deer standing on the sidewalk in front of his house the other day. And it was
good job, Rob.
Well, I even know I knew the group of doe. I mean, we had and you guys that hunt, December, January was tough. It was warm, and it was wet, and the deer did not move good. And the picture that he sent me, I knew that group of doe. They showed up every night between 10 and 2, but they didn't show up in daylight because it was warm. They didn't have to move. So it made it tough this year, but nonetheless, it was fun. I shot a lot of deer. I filled a lot of freezers. I made a lot of people happy, and it was just, I just have a good time during hunting season. I mean, that's what I live for. I take my wife out. She goes. I put her in stand this year, and
I want to hear the story about that buck.
Oh, you want to hear? All right.
That's what I want to hear. I want to hear the story about that buck.
Hey, we care about the other 27.
No, hers was just. I mean, nothing. I mean, it was special. So I mean, I put her in stand. I went to hunt one side of her property. I put her in stand on the property, and she was just. We were just trying to shoot some does that night. Honestly, it was early October, not really expecting much of anything. And she said she had 3 does come in. She was getting ready to draw back and shoot one of the does, and out of the corner of her eye, she noticed the buck kind of stepped up behind him, and I mean, just freaked her out. So she let down. Waited for him to kind of step up so she could get a shot, and then she ended up shooting that buck. And it's always great, you know, like when you're hunting with somebody and they call you before it's dark, like
Yeah.
you know they shot something.
That's a good day.
Yeah, so she called and then she's like, I shot him. I'm like, what do you mean you shot what? She goes, I shot a buck. I'm like, you shot a buck, really? Like, I was like surprised. I'm like, was it a good one? And she gets excited. She's like, I think so. I'm like, how do you not know? Like, you shot some decent ones before. So I run over and, you know, I get her, I meet her, you know, in this front field and we're looking and we find blood and we end up going and tracking it and we end up getting to the buck and it was a hell of a nice buck. And just awesome. Like, you know, she did it, man. I mean, I'm always proud of my baby girl. Like, she gets it done when I take her out and, you know, we're looking forward to spring turkey. This spring we got a couple trips planned and yeah, maybe we'll get her out and pop some snakeheads and squish around in the mud a little bit.
We're definitely gonna get you down here. I know, Gary, we talked about getting the boats and taking you out on that if we can, so we're definitely gonna get that done. I know me and you have talked about doing live stuff with the Sportsman's Channel,
Yeah,
so we're definitely
we
gonna
need
do
to
that.
do that because
Yeah,
I know people will absolutely love that. I mean, just to see the snakeheads. If we can go live and catch a couple big ones, you know, put them up and just, you know, try and inform the viewers of, you know, what's going on with the snakeheads and the population and whatnot. I think it'd be really great. I think people would appreciate it.
You know, while we're talking about snakeheads and just being on this subject, I want to just jump away from this for a minute. So, I had some people asking me the other day about the shad lift and Conowingo Dam. And, you know, I've recently been talking with somebody who's involved in that operation. And right now, tentatively, we're looking at opening the shad lift back up. For those that don't know, they closed the shad lift last year, which transfers the American and the hickory shad up the dams, you know, to where their
On their
original spawning
migratory
was.
journeys.
So last year we lost a complete year of transfer of any kind of shad. So we're trying to see what that's going to do, first of all, to numbers and what the return will be this year, which I'm not sure you're going to feel too much in a year. You know, it's probably going to take a year or two to see that cycle before we see what happened from the closure from last year. And the reason they closed the dam was directly because of snakeheads.
Yep.
So, you know, you have to look at the whole picture again, you know.
Well, it wasn't just snake. I mean, snakeheads were a big part of it, but it was COVID too because
Oh,
they
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get the
yeah.
lift started until late because of COVID, and then with the snakeheads on top of it
Right.
being in the lifts, and they just shut it down almost immediately.
They just didn't have support. They didn't
Yeah.
know what to do, and they thought that was the best decision to make. And in my eyes, I'm not sure that was the best decision to make, but that's probably the only decision that they could make
Yeah,
at the
that's-
time, you know?
That's one of those things where it doesn't matter what decision you make, it's going to be wrong either way.
And,
so
and the thing that kind of scared us a little bit was, you know, to see literally millions of snakehead fry in the
Oh, yeah.
locks August and September, you
Yeah,
know, and I mean, I'm talking millions, man. I mean, I've seen the videos of along the wall, the pairs guard and fry all the way down the wall, you know, so what they're going to do is they're going to manually having a person, you know, because this west side passage isn't very big, you know, you can kind of see everything that's going on there. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to try to put a body in place or two and see if they can't hand pick the snakeheads out as the shad are going over the lift. You know, that's the only thing that they can think of at this point to do. I have made the suggestion about, you know, maybe an electric eye or something like that, because, you know, we see it in like lumber facilities and things like that.
Right.
When a knotty piece of wood comes out, that eye catches that knot and throws it out. So I don't know why we can't come up with something that would manually eject the fish, kind of like, what did you say, the salmon cannon or whatever. Gary? So that'd be pretty.
I mean, that's what it does.
I wonder what people in Port Deposit would say when they see snakeheads launching across the sky over the cliffs. No,
They go through a tube, but yeah, it's. I mean,
so
we saw the video. It's
it's pretty
I'm-
wicked, yeah.
I'm sure you could get your viewers would probably donate
Oh,
their
yeah.
time and come out and pull snakeheads
They
out of the.
that'd be a
do a
good
little
idea.
snake
That
chunk.
would be a good live,
That
man.
would
To
be
get
a-
people
yeah.
popping snakeheads
Oh,
out of
for
that
sure.
lift.
Yeah, that'd
There's a
be-
big future in snake fit or snake or just fish chunking.
snake wrangling.
Snake
Yeah,
wrangling.
I'm a fish chunker.
but it's important to keep these fish migrating. You know, these fish make up a very, very important cycle to that Susquehanna ecosystem. Bottom line, that those shad, you know, when they run, I mean, it really supplies a lot of food to the fish that are existing in the lake and things like that. What's going to happen this year with the amount of snakeheads above the lake, we don't know. You know, we got people watching that. We got biologists up there doing that. I mean, they're just looking at a lot of places because we're seeing a lot of changes, especially this year as far as numbers go and what we're seeing in nets and things like that. So, we've got to keep this shad migration going. We can't just stop a migration, but we have to figure out a way to make this migration effective and not ineffective or a waste of time or a waste of money, So, my biggest point is this, the snakeheads, that everybody loves, love them, hate them, whatever you want. There's so much that happens around the snakehead that people don't take into consideration. And that's what you have to look at, the shallows that are being impeded by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of little 6 to 8 inch fish eating frogs and tadpoles and, all that stuff. So anyway, that's what they're looking at up there, as far as Susquehanna goes. And I want to touch on that before I forget, because I know I forget a lot of things when we're doing these shows. But I was really, really happy to hear that, they are moving forward and they are looking for a solution to that problem. You know what I'm saying?
Progress is being made.
So back to snakehead fishing. I know, Rob, you've done some snakehead fishing. I know your biggest one, I think you shot with a bow. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. Did got that bow fishing. I've got quite a few nice ones bow fishing. Never really caught a big one. I've walked the ditches in Dorchester, with buddies and just pulled them out of the ditches, 12, 14 inches.
Right.
But never actually caught a big one riding reel. So always, looking forward to that. I might know a guy though.
I know.
We might know a couple guys, so we're definitely going to make that happen for you.
For sure.
Another thing that I was thinking about too, Rob. So I know that you're a bow guy, right?
I'm a bow guy. I love bow hunting.
Before I forget it, I'm going to try to touch on the different kind of hunting that you do. So for the angler or for the hunter out there that's looking to get into bow hunting, what kind of bow do you shoot? What do you recommend? I mean, is there something that you prefer over? I mean, are you a crossbow guy or are you a vertical bow guy? What's your favorite?
I love my vertical bow. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. It's just a feeling when you shoot a bow and you pull the bow back and you draw down on a deer. I mean, it's just a different kind of feeling. And, that's just my preferred way of hunting is just by a bow. The way that I look at it, if it's legal, use it. And no one should bash anyone else for what they use. We're all on the same team. We're a small community. We've got a lot of the world that's against us, so we need to stick together and, stand back. There's so much bittering amongst everyone in this small community. You guys see it.
Oh, yeah.
Guys bashing other guys, snakehead fishing
yeah.
it. We see it. Hunters bashing other hunters for different things. You know what? You're not always gonna like what everyone else does. But I mean, if they're doing it legally, shut the hell up and just support each other. And if you don't have anything nice to say, my mama said don't say anything at all.
That's right.
That's what Kaz and I have been saying about the napalm and the dynamite, What the hell? That's what we want to do.
Yeah. I don't know.
He did say if it was legal.
Well, I'm all for dynamite. What are we doing? I love blowing shit up.
Well, no, I kind of want to stay on what we're talking about, and I know what you're availing to, the crossbow guy and the vertical guy,
Yeah.
And I'm with you, man. A harvest is a harvest, and this is what kills me. You see this little kid out there that's shooting a crossbow, and he kills his first big buck, a 10-pointer. Then you got 19 guys coming behind him saying, that's not a bow kill. That doesn't count. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, man. We see the same diversity or the same problems here, let's say, I mean, with our guys, whether they be release, kill, whatever, you know what I mean? So I agree, man. I mean, just be happy for what the hell you got an opportunity to get out there, you know what I mean? How many people in the world have never been hunting, never been in the woods, never sat in a tree, and you're going to ruin that kid's time? He'll never want to go again when you do something like that to a kid,
Everybody has a different set of skills, and that's, some people are just,
I'm
better.
all about it, yeah.
And more practice. Some people have the time to practice. Some people don't.
That's right.
What about arrows, broadheads, anything particular that you like to use?
I mean, this is just what I like to use, and this is really based on relationships that I've had in the past, from, other work environments. I mean, I like Black Eagle arrows. It's a great company. I know people there. They're great people. They treat me well. They always take care of me, and so I support their product. It works great for me. And, I've shot, they're called NAP Spitfires. I have shot them for, I don't even know, man. Since the year they came out, I've shot them. I haven't switched, and they are dynamite.
They're similar to the old Grim Reapers.
Yep.
They're similar to Grim Reapers. Yep, absolutely. And, people, there's that battle, mechanical broadheads versus.
Oh my goodness, that's almost as bad as crossbow versus.
I'm a mechanical guy, man.
The God's honest truth about it. Okay, and this is the God's honest truth. and I'm going to say it, and I'm sure I'm going to get blowback and criticism. And if anyone shoots more deer than me, then so be it. Speak up. But if you hit the deer in the right spot, it doesn't freaking matter what broadhead you're shooting. I've killed them with everything. I'll kill them with a field point. I don't care. You just got to hit them right. And that's the thing that most people don't do. And then they want to blame the broadhead. Hear it all the time. You see it all the time. But it's nonsense. Just practice and hit them in the right spot. We all make mistakes. I've hit deer bad. I've lost deer. We all have. But practice, do the best you can, and just have fun. Well, I mean, it's that easy. Just have fun because it's meant to be fun.
Well, you know, Rob, how many people have you hunted with that you say, I'm going to go shoot an arrow, test my bow, make sure I'm right, and they say, I did mine in April. Well, she's good to go. Yep. Well, it's November.
A lot of people, man.
Yeah, I mean
it's
that's
just all,
that's the thing.
It's all due diligence. Like everything in life is based on due diligence. Like if you research and practice and do what you're supposed to do, you'll probably have a good result. If you half-ass things, you're probably not going to have a good result. I practice. I do my due diligence. I run like 15 trail cameras all year. I spend, don't tell my wife, like probably $1,000 on batteries.
Just say too much.
Yeah, and I'm successful. But I work my ass off for it. And I'm happy to help other people do it. I got a couple people their first deer this year. Like this kid I took out this year, man, he was the son of a landowner I hunt. I took him out and he emptied his quiver, man, and he finally hit a deer. Like he was so excited. He missed all his first couple shots and he finally hit the deer on his last arrow and got it, man. But he was like so excited. I was so happy about
there's nothing like that, man.
Get that deer.
That's the best.
And it ended up being a small deer and he had to pay a lot of money for the butchering, but I mean no one really cared. I mean he was just jacked up. I mean, it's just all about having fun, honestly, and promoting the sport and getting more people into the sport and not belittling each other. Right. I mean, like, it's just, you see it everywhere all the time in basically every facet of life, man. There's always someone trying to criticize someone else.
I was just about to say that it's not just in hunting or fishing. It's in politics. It's in everywhere you look. It's somebody's got to be more right.
Don't talk about politics because my head will freaking explode.
I'm right there with you.
But yeah, man, just be happy, just have fun, enjoy life, and do what you love. I mean, it's pretty much that easy.
I think the biggest thing with bow hunting versus gun hunting is there's so many variables, like you just said. It's not like aim and shoot, I mean, there's so many things that come into play. Are you bent at the right angle? Are you, like you said, I think most guys that get down out of the tree and say, my arrow, it was my arrow. I really think that if you sit down and you think about really what happened, it probably wasn't your arrow. It was probably like you said, it's a learning curve. It's a learning curve.
A lot of people don't. A lot of people with bows and crossbows combined don't allow for the arc.
Yep.
I mean,
they got a line of sight on the deer, but there's a branch 3 inches above him, 20 yards out, and he's 40 yards away. You're gonna hit that branch.
Everybody says that a crossbow might as well be shooting a gun. Let me tell you what, a crossbow does not shoot anywhere near like any gun I've ever shot.
It really doesn't. And that misconception is horrible because it makes people take bad shots. Now I know for a fact I used to be in the industry. The Raven crossbow. Everybody knows a Raven crossbow.
Yeah,
it's good out to 100 yards. Well,
They're
you know
not.
what? Well, I'll elaborate on that, Gary. It's good to 100 yards. But when they did that 100-yard test, they did it indoors, no atmospheric condition, no changes, on a bench rest, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's good at 100 yards. Go try that in your tree stand.
You're right.
Okay? It ain't happening.
Here's the thing with 100 yards.
And I don't shoot crossbows, so I'll let Gary
I've got a
elaborate.
Raven.
Yeah, I don't shoot.
And I'm going to tell you, it's the best crossbow that I've been around and been shot. It's awesome. I shot a deer 65 yards, and where I was, had no idea I was there, and it still jumped. And if the deers are spooky, you better be shooting 1.5 inches back and 2 inches down because they shoot 425 feet a second. Sounds, 1,300 feet a second. Mm-hmm. He's got almost a half a second.
Yep, absolutely.
It's 65, 70 yards.
That's enough time to duck it, baby.
Oh, no, it's enough time to be gone.
Yeah,
and it don't take a deer long to react. If they're spooked just the least little bit, they're instantaneous. It's amazing.
Yeah, they are. They're incredible. And it's just like anything else, a crossbow or not, you got to practice. You got to know what your capabilities with the weapon is. And that's it. I mean,
things are getting
simple.
better. You know, Garmin's just come out with a new scope or a new scope for crossbows. They've got one for
Patrick just said he's got a 243 longbow.
I got a 270 longbow.
Just don't tell us when you're using it.
That's
You'll
right.
Be all right.
Yeah, that's right, Pat.
But you know, I mean, and they've done the same thing with bows now. They've got the whatever the bow sights now. You know, they red dot for you and tell you exactly when you're on it.
Absolutely.
And the Garmin's done that with that crossbow scope. But that doesn't mean you still got to hit them, and you still got to not pull the trigger and jump the gun and or the bow, whatever you're shooting. All that.
Yep. I prefer to go in the backyard and just whittle a stick down to a bow. I mean, I like a challenge.
And I'll tell you something else. Look at my Raven. When I'm target sighting it, I take a little magic marker and I write 1, 2, 3, 4, however many arrows I'm using. And I can tell you one's going to hit the same place when you shoot it.
Yep.
The next time, but two isn't necessarily going to hit that same spot.
Yeah.
And if you shoot it enough consistent, you're going to find out where your ones and your twos. So what I do is the ones that are closest together are the ones that I put in my quiver.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll say one thing about a bow. I mean, anyone that's looking to get into bow hunting, I don't even want to specify a brand. Go to a shop and shoot every brand and buy the one that feels best to you, the one that you shoot the best. Don't buy a bow because so-and-so says they're the best, or you see that many commercials or whatever. Buy what feels best to you, and you'll end up shooting it better. Like, the brand really doesn't matter because nowadays they are all smoking good.
The best brand is whatever you're most comfortable with.
Absolutely.
That's the same with a weapon, period.
Before I forget real quick, we're going to give away a old school tackle 3/8 ounce gold minnow jig spinner to somebody. If you want this right here, all right, put in the comments. Give me that swim bait. Give me that swim bait, and you can have it. Rob, my next question, shotgun or rifle when you're deer hunting? What do you prefer?
Me?
You like close shots, far shots? What do you like?
Honestly, dude, I have a custom rifle now, which I really, really love. But I mean, it's just too easy for close shots. I killed a Snakehead with it this year, thanks to a good friend of mine on his property. That was a rifle. I mean, it was a 20-yard shot, so it wasn't like a big deal. But honestly, I really love. I got a 20 gauge H&R shotgun single barrel, and I've killed doe with that. Out to 200 yards, and I love that gun. Wow. It's incredible.
Those ultra sluggers are fantastic.
It's so cool. Like shooting them that far away. I mean, the gun goes off, and then you just listen, and boom, you hear it hit the deer, man. And then they fall over, and that's like just finishes the dance.
That's like a carnival game.
I like black powder guns.
Black powder's fun. Yeah,
that was
going to be cool because you shoot. And then you don't know anything until the smoke clears.
That's right.
It's like behind curtain number 1.
I do got to say this. My one buddy, so he's a black powder guy, and I don't know if any of you guys have seen this, but he bought a black powder gun this year. I believe it was made by Remington. And let me tell you what, man, this thing was no different than a shotgun. Like literally.
The ones that have the sleeve slugs.
Yes. So, I mean,
They just became legal in Maryland.
Yeah, I mean, I was blown away at this thing. But the cost of these son of a guns is ridiculous, man. I mean, I don't know that I'm trying to spend
it's the same way with anything you buy.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'd go buy a $200 reel.
They got the $29.95 fishing rod, and they got that $400 fishing rod. Yep. Just no matter what you want.
Speaking of fishing rods, I know we just got some stuff in here, didn't we, from Matt? We got some stuff in here.
I've got 6. I think it's 6 Wolford Store custom rods built by MFers Outdoors for sure.
Yeah, so if you want a real nice snakehead rod, come check these things out. They are hot to trot. And I know we got to order ugly sticks in too. We got some of them down there.
We got plenty of rods for sure.
Plenty of rods. We got reels coming. I mean, we're stocking everything up, folks. So I mean, while we're talking about lures, let's take a break and let's do Snakehead 101.
Jump right into Snakehead 101.
So a lot of folks have been asking us about our Snakehead Destroyer rig. How do we rig our minnows? How do we do that? So it's pretty simple. I've seen a lot of people putting designs up and things like that, how to set their bobber. And it's really not complicated. You don't need 5 different connections below your bobber. You don't need leader. You don't need anything like that. I mean, our rig that we use here is pretty basic and pretty cut and dry and simple. That's what we want to see is simple. You know, I like simple stuff. It gets too complicated with barrel swivel here, a leader here, this shock leader, that. I mean, that's just crazy. You don't need all that stuff. And the biggest thing about snake fishing we have to remember is that as natural as possible is how you have to be with your presentation. So if you've got something hanging under a bobber with a barrel swivel here and a split shot here and a leader here, I mean, you just got too much stuff going on.
A 2-liter bottle up at the top.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it just does not look right. So simple, cut and dry. Okay, an Eagle Claw 1/0 bait holder. Simple. The reason I like that and the reason we like that is because it's got the holders on the back of the hook. So it's not as likely to pull from the fish once it's been embedded in the fish's mouth. Okay, just make sure you set the hook really strong, as hard as you can. So that's the only hook that we use. That's it. There's not a 2, there's not a 3, there's not a 5, there's not a 10. It's a 1/0. That's all that I use anyway. Other people may use something else, but that is all that I use. So, bobber, okay, so an 1.5-inch round bobber.
That's a little bit smaller.
It's just smaller. There was no 1.5 down there. So, this is a smaller one. It's probably 3/4, but I like an 1.5-inch round bobber like you see, just like this. And then what I like to do is, you know, push this and this end where the weight is, and I'd like to take my line and I'd like to wrap my line 4 or 5 times around that. It just makes it that much stronger when you set the hook, okay? Think about it. You wrap it. It's just added strength. So it's that's simple.
Easier than tying it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. And then as far as my lead, okay, what am I going to do between the bobber and my hook? Okay, so generally what I'm doing is I'm walking up to a spot. It's been warm for 2 or 3 days. I'm looking before I'm even fishing. I'm not going to sit and get everything out and set everything up if I don't know for sure that I'm seeing what I want to see. And another thing is, you know, you can use these bobbers too that are long like this. I like them too because it's kind of easy for them to pull down. When you do this where you're wrapping the one side, okay, it's less resistance to the fish when he pulls the bobber down, believe it or not. When you have both ends tied, it's more, I know it doesn't make sense, but just watch it one time. So, you know, wrap the bottom of your bobber 3 or 4 or 5 times, however many times you want to or you feel comfortable. A 1/0 Eagle Claw hook down below. Now, what to do between? So, I'm going to start fishing. If I'm walking up to a spot, say Maple Dam, I'm looking out and I see fish rolling. I see gulping. I see bait jumping. You know, now I've seen sign. Once I've seen sign, now I know I want to fish. Now, being that I'm seeing the fish in the surface, and Cornflower can tell you this is something that we learned a long time ago. When you see that fish come up and get a gulp of air and go back down, I promise you, 8 times out of 10, you take that bobber and you take that minnow and you throw it right where you just saw that boil at, give it 5 minutes. You're going to get that fish 8 times out of 10. Me and Cornflower figured this out real early on in our snakehead fishing, you know, that, you know, we'd see them rolling, but we couldn't catch them. You know, we were not fishing where they were. And then Cornflower said, I'm going to throw it right on top of the boil and see what happens. And I swear to God, that thing hit that boil and it was gone. So we learned real quick that any close fish that we saw, we could cast to and we could get them fish real quick, you know. So
another thing with bobbers, when I put a minnow on a bobber and he's pretty lively minnow and you throw him out, if that minnow can't pop that bobber under the water, you got too big a bobber.
Yep.
And I agree. I mean,
you want to, you know, these fish can feel that resistance. It's not Jaws, you know, put another barrel on.
Now, what do you tell people who want to use a leader? Let's say they use braid, but they want to use like.
Okay, so I mean, I have friends that do that, you know. But let me just finish with the mono, with the mono first, real quick. So anyway, I got my bobber. I've been looking at Maple Dam. I see fish surfacing. I don't want to go setting 3 feet down if they're coming up looking for food. If they're coming up getting a gulp of air, they're going to see the bait. So what I'll do 9 times out of 10 is I'll either use this bobber. I might tape a rattle or 2 on the outside of it to give it some noise because they can hear that sound more than they can see.
Or,
you know?
or just get a rattle bobber.
Or get a rattle bobber from Eddie. I mean, I got him here too, right? But no, so sound sometimes makes a difference. So for my lead, I would probably start at 8 inches. You know, that's where I would start. 8 inches below the float because I'm seeing them coming up to the top, you know.
Now are you talking this time of year or is that summertime?
Even this time of year.
Okay.
I mean, you see them come up and get that air, you know. If we've had 3 warm days, boom, it's on like Donkey Kong. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's one tactic, you know. As far as leader goes, you know, here's another thing that I do, okay? So if it's like, if I'm not seeing much in the way of sign, I just take the bobber off and just throw my minnow and just let it sit out there. Something will eventually come along and grab it, you know? So I may use a split shot, but I'm only going to use a split shot if I'm setting any kind of distance between my lead. I'm not using a split shot if I'm 8 inches. You know what I'm saying? I want that commotion. I want that minnow swimming around on the top. I want that bobber making a commotion and waves coming off of it.
It's more about the action that minnow provides than the actual depth that because that snakehead's, when it's warmer out, he's going to be moving up and down.
His eyes are on the top of his head anyway, so he's looking up all the time.
That's another thing I've always tried to tell people. You look at the position of their eyes just like crappie. Crappie are always looking up. You know what I mean? Usually crappie don't go down for a bait. Usually crappie are looking up and they come up for a bait, you know? And the snakeheads do the exact same thing, you know? And you can even take this one step further at night. A glow-in-the-dark bobber, you know, get something that... You can buy these lighted bobbers up at Walmart. I like them. They're big and they're bulky. You can cast real far with them. I just hate it sometimes because they come off the hook and they're $12 a piece. That's what I don't like. So, you know, when you're way out there and you set that hook and then you see your bobber floating off in the distance, your $12 bobber, and it's just kind of...
Close the business, man.
That's
so
right.
leader-wise, like some of my friends, you know, they'll lead with some braid. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, the cinch knot or whatever it is to bring it together. I don't use any braid at all. So, you know, I know my friends will use a piece of braid and then, you know, they'll have their hook down here. They have told me, you know, with braid, you can't just use a simple clinch knot like I use. Yeah, you have to use a different knot for it, which, like I said, I haven't used braid since I was probably 18 years old and split my hand wide open, you know?
Me too. That's all I fish with. I don't even use a leader. That's just straight braid. No leader at all for me.
And you can do that too. I mean, you can just cast the minnow out, you know, on the braid. That's not a big deal either.
If I use a leader, it's already on the hook.
Yep.
The thing about the braid, I think, that most of these guys tell me about is sensitivity-wise. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess when you feel that bite, you feel a little bit more with braid than you do with mono. I don't know how that works. So that's basically the live rig. But here's the other thing too. Like, so where's that at?
What I like about braid is when it frays, you can see it. Mono, you don't always see it.
Yep.
And then pop, it's gone. But braid, you can see that it's getting frayed most of the time.
So that's pretty much the live bait rig. I'm looking for, I had a little trout lure sitting here somewhere, but I don't know where. Oh, you got it over there. Eddie took it from me. So this is another thing, okay? So this is for speckled trout, okay? But I don't know if you can see this. You know, you have this little hook here, and you've got this hair, right? You see a little better there now? You can kind of see it there. But it's got a blade on it there and some beads, and this is something that I've used my whole life for flounder fishing down Watchapreek and things like that. And we were using these in the fall towards the end when it started to slow up. Yep. The bite was slowing down, and we were trying to just see if something bigger and bulkier and flashier. And I think the reason that this thing works so good is the tinsel. It's got a lot of tinsel in the tie there, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if that was just good as far as reflection, but this green color here seemed to be probably the best for me to use. And the only reason I'm throwing this out there is they're very inexpensive, and they're here, and you can pick them up. And if you lose it, it's not a big deal because you didn't spend a lot of money on it. You know what I'm saying? So you just got to make things different. You know, what makes one snakehead angler better than another is the bottom line is just the way that they think, the way that they outsource their thoughts into other avenues that are already established, you know. Instead of just using a hook with a bead, now I've got some hair on it. I'm showing them something different, you know. And I think a lot of times, because these fish, the memory is, you know, you'll get something like this out there and you'll do real good on it for a week or two in a spot. It's no more than switching to pink. Yep. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just another way that you may be able to put a couple more fish in your cooler when you come here to visit, you know, and that's why I kind of wanted to share these things. Other lures, you know, that we want to keep mentioning is the Chanted Eye baits from Brady Felts. I mean, these things are really, 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 really nice, and we're going to be getting some in here in the store. We're going to test them out and see how they go, so we'll check them out. Don't forget that we've got our buddy down there at Old School Tackle Company. And I am very, very happy to announce that we have coming the Snakehead Destroyer swim bait, which will be available here at Wolford Store. It's a swim bait that's a little smaller than what's on the market, and we think that it will do a lot better. And we have some other lures that we're working on also. What else was I going to? Oh, we need to talk about the tournament, Eddie.
Yep.
Okay, let's touch on that a little bit real quick. The tournament and the club and what we're doing with that. And
are we starting with ours, or are we starting with Bass Federations?
I'll tell you what. Let's. So we had a meeting this week with Scott Sewell up there in Hartford County. You know, Gary and Eddie went up there and handled that. I had brakes go out of my car and just a shitty day. So, Anyway, it got handled and taken care of. Eddie wants to tell them what we got going on up there in the upper bay. So this is going to be really big. That's something that we want people to know. The Maryland Waterways is getting involved with this. You know, we're doing a lot of stuff. So probably going to see close to 100 sponsors in this thing. You're going to see a lot of, you know, Harford County government. Yeah, Harford County government's already involved with it. You know, we're going to get all the permits and everything in place to get this thing going. It's going to be massive, man.
So Scott Sewell from the Maryland Bass Federation, he contacted us, wanted our help with throwing a snakehead tournament up there, and they're tentatively setting the date for August 14th. I'm not sure if it's set in stone yet or not. He hasn't even started selling tickets yet, if I remember correctly.
No, they got some things to get in place, but it looks like August 14th.
Yep. So August 14th, and it's going to be what's the name of the park?
Pine Point Park.
Yes, Pine Point Park. Thank you.
And that's in Edgewood, Maryland.
Yep.
On the Bush River.
And there might be an alternate launch for
kayaks. Yep. So they're going to have a kayak division and they're going to have a boat division. If I remember, it's 5 fish per person. Does that sound right?
I think it's your 5 biggest.
Your
or something
5 biggest.
like that.
Biggest. I think they are going to have the most fish too. So.
They are going to have the most fish.
Yeah, we're going to have some calcutters and some other stuff like that. I mean, the whole purpose of this.
Everything.
Right. So Scott wanted to really raise awareness about snakeheads and educate anglers about the problems they've caused and everything. So we're throwing a big tournament, and it's just the same thing we're doing down here. Harvest as many as possible. Get them fishing for him. I think he wants a lot of boats in this thing. I mean, he's expecting a big tournament.
The purpose of the tournament is to harvest snakeheads. Yep. That's the bottom line. It's not and no other reason to harvest snakeheads. That's what we're doing. So you know, it'll be your 5 biggest. We'll have some cow cutters in that and some other stuff like that too. Yep. And I think it's going to be a great time. I mean, you're going to have bass boats, you're going to have kayaks, and the good thing about the Bush River, Aberdeen Proving Ground, it's literally infested with snakeheads, man. Mm-hmm. And you can publicly go out there and fish. All you have to do is sign in at the visitor center. There's many places there that you can go fishing there. So don't be afraid to go to Aberdeen Proving Ground and take a ride out there and learn
it's a
some of them
beautiful
spots.
place. Beautiful place.
Well, just from that park, you can see three marinas.
There's three different launch points right from that park.
One of them's a public one that's going to be closed, so you really only two more besides that one.
That's my home. I mean, that's where I grew up fishing the Bush River, Otter Creek. I mean, that's why I thought it was real important for us to get involved and get up there and try to help out. And I know that just the simple fact the Maryland Bass Federation's involved, that's going to help. The Maryland Waterways is involved, that's going to help. And all the other sponsors that we're going to bring into the picture, too, with that tournament. And then
that's another thing during the tournament while all the boats are out fishing. We're going to get as many people as we can, go do a trash cleanup.
Yep, for sure.
Yep.
And then we're going to be there to help with the weigh-in at the end of the day. So we're going to be right there supporting Maryland Bass Federation with the snakehead.
See these hats?
I'll be there in my snakehead tube top and thong, brother.
I'm not coming now.
And then we got our tournament.
My hands might be doing this.
You can still see, like I've done that. You can see between them fingers, Gary. And then we've got our tournament that's coming up. Let's talk about those dates.
We've got our 4 tournaments. The first one's coming up May 1st.
Damien, Cook, Alex, Wayne, you guys been asking. Here you go.
That's right. May 1st is going to be our first tournament. June 19th, July 31st, and September 18th. So it's going to be the same format pretty much as 2019. We're going to have our cow cutters going to be the heaviest of the tournament, the longest of the tournament, the most harvested over, what did we say, 8 inches, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Most harvested over 8 inches. Kids fish for free. They have their own division.
Yep.
And then we'll still have another cow cutter for heaviest of the entire year. Damien Cook walked away with that in 2019.
Some of them guys walked away with some paychecks.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, we'll have one for the heaviest year. And, of course, we're going to be crowning, maybe a new champion, maybe a back-to-back champion, but we'll see.
We'll see how good Wayne's game is.
That's right.
He's definitely a source to be reckoned with. There's no doubt about that.
There's a reason he won it. I'll just leave it at that.
And the Snakehead Club,
yes,
we've got that coming together too.
Yep. So we're still working on getting all that straight.
I'm hoping to have our first meeting by May, sometime in May. So let's get that, and you can explain, Eddie, about how that's going to work as far as to join the club. But then the good thing about being a club member is that you have other opportunities available to you here locally.
So it's going to be very similar to a bass club. I mean, anybody who's been in a bass club or any fishing club at all, really, you're going to have the same type of benefits. We're going to get some sponsors together to give you discounts at different stores. Obviously, Wolford store will be one. You'll get a discount here at the store. And
we're going to work on some other places here too.
That's what I said. That's just the first one off the top of the head. We're definitely going to get more for sure. And then club members will be getting a discount into the tournaments. The tournaments are going to be $50 each, or you can enter into all 4 tournaments and be a club member for $200. And so you get a $50 discount if you're a club member, basically.
Have door prizes at the meetings.
Yep, we're going to have door prizes at the meetings. We're going to have all kinds of special guests at the meetings.
Yep.
And then we're going to have each meeting is going to be digitally accessible. So even if you can't make the meeting, if you're too far away or just can't come that month or whatever, it's going to be broadcast live, so you can attend digitally, and only club members can attend digitally still.
Yeah,
so
and
you still got to be in the club.
You just ain't going to be able to go on Facebook to the page and view the club. You know what I mean? The club's going to be a private entity, so if you want to view that, you have to join the club. And I think the cool thing about doing it this way is that no matter where you are, Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey, North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, wherever they got snakeheads, you can join the club. You know, you'll be able to watch it every month.
Creek?
Church,
yeah, maybe Church Creek.
Maybe Church Creek. but I mean, I think this is really good. And the whole reason that we're trying to do all this is just solidify the community, build a better community, everybody get along, make new friends. The whole Snakehead USA page that we set up is doing really, really good. If you haven't joined that page, it's snakeheadusa.com. Okay, it's a group, and there's also a business page. Don't join the business page because that's just laying there quietly. Join the group page. And on this page, we figured that if we set it up like this, that there really is no room for bullshit. So, what you can do is you can post one picture a day. 365 days a year. So if you've got 365 pictures, you can put them up one a day, every day for a year. Yep. You cannot have a heading on your picture. You can't say, I caught this at such and such, or Snakehead Destroyers, do it again.
You post your picture, no comments, no nothing.
No comments, no heading, just a picture of you and your fish. Now, the technical questions that followed, if it's me and my kid, yes. If it's you and your kid, absolutely. If it's mom and the kid, yes, absolutely. We're not going to discriminate if there's three people in the picture with the kid holding the fish.
Right.
Now, if you put 3 pictures of the kid with the fish on your post, then your post is going to be deleted and it's not going to be in there, or I'll delete 2 of the pictures and 1 will stay. So there's just no room for any arguing. There's no room for where'd you catch that. There's no room for none of that. And the bottom line is if you want to know what that person did and what they caught and how they caught it, send that person a friend's request. Yep. Make a new friend. That's the whole purpose of that page, is to build a community, for you to make friends. Decide if that person, you want to be his friend or not. So send him a message. You'll know in 10 minutes whether or not you want to be that guy's friend. At least I do when somebody sends me a message. You know what I'm saying? So
that's part of the club and the tournaments and all. Yeah. I mean, that you fellas knew a lot of these fishermen. I didn't know a lot of them. Knew some of them, but a lot of them I didn't know. I think I made some friends, but I'm not sure about that. But I still know much more people than I did. And it's the same way with the club. You'll have access to a lot of people. You'd be surprised who's doing stuff that you didn't know they were doing.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, you'll be able to come in the store and buy a rod, get 10% off or something like that. We'll figure something, maybe not 10, maybe 5. I don't know. I'm just saying.
You'll be able to get some crabs at a discount.
Yeah. Hey, we could do that. We could do a crab giveaway once a week here.
For sure.
Absolutely. Let's do it. We'll give away 3 bushels a week.
One more time, just in case anybody missed it. Maryland Bass Federation's tournament is going to be August 14th. And then our 4 tournaments, the first one is May 1st. The second one is June 19th. The third one is July 31st. And the fourth one is September 18th. So just one more time in case you missed it.
Let me think. Let's give our mount guy a little plug here. If anybody needs a replica mount out there, you can get yourself a replica mount made here. So if you kill your fish, release your fish, whatever you do, you don't have to have the fish. You just have to have a picture of your fish. So we can see the colors and how pretty that thing is, right? What was the number on him again? You got it?
It is 717-5.
Brian Taylor, right?
Barry Taylor. 717-577-7437.
So if you want to get a mount done, and what do you say the average cost was about?
Fix your mic.
Sorry, my mic's over there. What was the average cost?
$20 an inch.
$20 an inch. So if it's a 30-inch fish, you're looking at $600. That's just, it is what it is. So I will say this. I saw Wes Denon. He got a mount done the other day. I'm not sure where he got that done.
That was a nice one.
That was a very, very nice mount, Wes. We really liked that, and that was a good fish, man. I know he's itching so bad to get at her. Like, dude, I've met a lot of addicts. He's definitely a snakehead addict. No doubt about that. Every other day. I can't wait to get out there. Oh, my Lord, I can't wait. It's coming.
Everybody is, man. It's just been so wet for so long.
I mean, this
everybody's got cabin fever, for
sure. This winter is drug on, and the whole COVID stuff. I mean, everybody's ready to just get out here and go back to the way that it was. You know what I mean? So. And
one more thing before I forget, we got the Mepps Angler Spotlight of the week. Gordon, I think I'm saying this right, Gordon Cole submitted this. His daughter caught a 6-pound fish on braid. This is obviously last year's picture. It's not that warm yet. But it's still a great picture.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And don't forget to stop in and pick up your
pick up your Meps.
So we'll take care of that. Is there anything that we're forgetting today? I don't know. I feel like we've talked about everything.
Covered all my bases.
I'll say one thing. It was a pretty cool post. You posted somebody in Pennsylvania had spotted a cardinal, and some bird watchers went to, look at him. It was a cardinal that's basically unisex. He's half female and half male. Red on the right and olive and a little bit of yellow on the left side. That just the whole read. I read the whole thing.
And
pretty cool.
And
speaking of
very rare thing.
Speaking of Cardinals, you all know I'm a Cardinals fan for football, and J.J. Watt's in Arizona now. Moving on.
Yay! Who's that?
Where's Arizona?
I heard they have snakeheads.
Probably not. It's a little bit dry there.
I don't know. I guess that's. Oh, Patrick's asking about the Snakehead Festival. Pat, we have
We're
not
still
forgot
working on
about
that.
We're working on that. We're going to try to. We may bring that back for the fall. Something for the fall to do this year. You know what I mean? When things slow up. So we're trying to.
I'm sure Pat would volunteer himself to cook for that.
Oh, I'm sure he would.
For sure.
He'd probably help us eat it all too. I tell you what, he's a phenomenal cook. I will tell you that.
I've never had his food.
Look, every time he comes,
I haven't either.
So
No, I had his.
I'll tell you how good
the
a cook he is. Kaz never tells us when Patrick's coming
That's
down.
right.
And then he tells us the next day, man, he brought this dessert that just like out of the world.
Are you guys? I guess you guys are upset because you haven't gotten any bread pudding lately. Patrick, bring us down some bread pudding, man.
And that blueberry cheesecake stuff.
Oh my God, that strawberry one was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
And you can find that at Outlaw Barbecue in Carroll County. They have that stuff there in the cooler all day long if you have a sweet tooth. So, let's see. I think that's all. Rob, is there anything that you want to tell the good folks out there that you haven't thought about? Hold on, we have to ask him one special question.
Oh,
So
boy.
Let me think.
What?
Oh, that's right. The
special
question for the guests. Yep.
Walmart or Target? Which do you prefer?
That's like the most absurd question I've
Isn't
ever
it though?
heard.
Isn't it though? I mean, it's so simple. It's hard.
I'd say Cabela's.
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Well, that's all out of me this week, folks. I'm ready when you are. Any more mores?
I'm done with one.
Any one mores? Should we leave them with a
I'm
crabby
good to
jingle?
go.
Give them your crabby
Oh,
jingle.
why not?
Look, folks. Today is what's today's date? Today is the 2nd, isn't it? Today is the 2nd.
Second or third. Yeah.
So we have 13 days before Virginia season opens.
Yep.
And then we have 2 more weeks after that. So you might as well say
I think it's first
we've got
of April.
29 days before the Maryland crab season kicks off. And let me tell you what, the way it's looking, there's crabs already here. I can tell you that.
Nice.
So I think it's going to be pretty good. There's a lot of crabs that have been out here the last month, especially on the oyster bed. You know, when them guys are in their oyster and they're pulling up crabs with them here and there. Let's just hope that these crabs got out of the mud and got back in fast enough before they got too cold and died on the oyster bed, because that's what happened several years ago. Remember that 2 years ago, 3 years ago? We were real short on crabs. And looks like this year, hopefully, we'll see a little better, harvest anyway. Hopefully we have big crabs to start with. That's what we've been lacking the last couple of years, is those big crabs to start with. So hopefully this year when we start, we won't have 5.5 inch crabs. Maybe we'll be able to find some 7 and 8s around somewhere. So I know they're out there, so we'll just have to look for them and we will find them. But with all that out of the way, how about we leave them with a little crabby jingle, huh? Rob, you want to sing with me today?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, here we go.
That's the first one to say yes.
I know, right?
I don't even know the song, but I'll go with it.
You can just hum, scream, jump
just-
up and down, whatever you want to
I'll
do.
just hum and scream.
This is karaoke at its finest.
My crabs, they have 3 first names. It's heavy, full, and fat. My
Bye-bye.
crabs, they have a 4th name. Absolutely mustard packed.
Pat.
Good job, Rob. If you ask me where they're from, they're 100% guaranteed Maryland number one.
Number one.
At the crab stand, here's a fact I know for sure you're coming back. Kapow! 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 Thanks, Rob!
I
Thank
love
you.
that.